short work of that. Lesueur came in, bringing Brett Walther. It was a one-on-one move that Joe talked about. Lesueur, Walther, past Piper, and now the game is a 6-5.
That's the matchup. Walter's been taken to the rack for 2 goals. Earlier it was Lesueur penetrating and kicking it to Barry. This time he takes it strong and beats the goalie to the near post. Again, he just gets top side. You've got to help there. You got to double team. But you see, no one wants to leave Bob Benson that time. His man should have stepped up and double team. But it's clear that they're just leaving Walter out there on an island.
Lesueur, 1 goal and 1 assist on the day. Timeout called by Desco. He's got a pocket full of them now. Uses one here. With 2:22 left, he's got Michael Powell and the famous 22 up there on the clock as he wants to answer the call. A 1-goal lead. He'd like to have probably, Quint, a nice 2-minute possession ending up in a goal.
He's got a lot of options. Coach Petramalo has not had any answers to Syracuse's offense right now. Well, the last 4 or 5 minutes, they've played a little more inspired lacrosse. They've done some good work on ground balls in their own zone. Watson and Connery and Pizer. But Rob Scherz had to bail them out time and time again. And that's just a time bomb. Anytime you're playing Syracuse and you're going to ask your goalie to make 20 saves, you're not going to get there.
Dave Petramalo with his team. Let's take a look at the great programming today. It's Elimination Saturday as the 2003 Women's College World Series continues on ESPN2 at 4 Eastern. UCLA faces off against Louisiana Lafayette. Then at 7, the winner of today's Oklahoma-Alabama game takes on California. At 9:30, the winner of the early game, the 4 o'clock game, will do battle against Washington. In all 3 games, the winner moves on, the loser goes home. It's the 2003 Women's College World Series on ESPN and ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Crowd getting pumped up and still continuing to come in to fill up the stadium. Joe, it's really getting tense on the sideline.
Very much so, and these teams know each other so well, Leaf. Without giving away too much in the way of strategy, to talk and to listen to John Desco, it's exactly going from his mouth to Dave Petramalo's ears. They are very much expecting what's to come here. What's important for Syracuse, they were talking about possession late in the half. They want to keep the ball late in the half with this 1-goal lead.
A lot of these matchups have been 1-goal wins earlier this season, 15-14, so they want to keep the lead going into half. They work too hard for it.
Hopkins shows a man-to-man package off that timeout.
Crockett, the freshman, against Benson Irwin. This is Brian Nee. Double teaming by Hardy, coming up quickly. Nee needs help, and he gives it to Michael Powell.
This is the matchup Syracuse wants. Lindsay on the freshman Dowd.
Dowd giving him his left hand. Lindsay not taking it up, but coming in for the right hand and does a great job of dancing along the crease. Beautifully done by Lindsay, and the junior midi makes the game a 7-5 score.
Lindsay's got that blend of the shooting ability, but also he can carry, and he's deceptively strong. Look at him just bear in, use his leg strength to gain the inside leverage right here, tiptoes the crease, and beats Scher up high with a quick release. Lindsay, one of the leading midfield scorers in the country, tiptoeing the crease.
1:40 left in this first half. It's been a Syracuse half, but Hopkins really fighting back still with a 1-goal lead in this quarter. Face-offs, Hopkins now leading that category 7-5. There's an early advantage to Syracuse. As you look at Kyle Harrison, who can put pressure on any defense, come up with the ball, and go to the offensive set. Doniger comes on the field. Bolin comes on. They help him out. Far side begging for the ball, and they get it. Now the matchup.
Syracuse's 7 goals coming from 7 different players. Hopkins 5 goals coming from 5 different players.
Bickle playing defense on Bolin. They start from the corner. Bolin looks to feed. He's going to have a shot, and he gets a goal. Great job by Bolin, who always comes up with a huge goal for Hopkins, and he answers in less than a half a minute. That goal by Lindsay.
Bolin sneak this ball to the near post. He does a little finalizer move, and in the super slow, watch the reaction of the Syracuse goaltender, Jay Piper. He gets a piece that he can't believe that it actually beats him to the near side. He's looking behind the cage, saying, that's got to be in the back of the net. Somehow Bolin. Both players played against each other at Gilman, right up the road here in Baltimore. Pfeiffer and Bolin, former teammates.
Kevin Bolin so balanced, 20 goals, 21 assists coming in. And look at Bickle. Fast break off of the faceoff. Gets the pass off quickly. Rotating into the middle. Powell shoots just wide. That was exactly the way you draw it up in the coach's book. The fast break was there, and Powell had it in his stick. Good possession shot, as Desko again will call a timeout with 51 seconds left, as he wants to draw up this one. They lead 7-6 here in the first half.
That's what we saw yesterday in practice when Syracuse did their full field fast breaks. Running up and down the field was Mike Powell's ability in those transition moments to really capitalize on the momentum of his defender. So Garvey stepped out to cover Mike Powell, and Powell just went left and then right, and boom. Next thing you know, he was in a great shooting spot, 10 yards directly in front of the cage.
Stick around for our halftime. Our championship studio, we'll go back to them for some championship highlights. First half breakdown, all coming up from our championship studio, our NCAA championships exclusive coverage on ESPN2 and ESPN. The semifinals today in this historic venue, M&T Bank Stadium. And then the finals Monday morning. The winner here takes it on the winner of Maryland, Virginia. That game coming up later today. This venue has been so special, Quint. The first time ever, home of the Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium. And take a look at the kids playing out there in the asphalt jungle of the parking lots, taking over downtown. Syracuse leading a score of 7-6 in our national semifinals in Baltimore. I'm Lee Felsman along with Quint Kesnick. It's our exclusive coverage of the NCAA Lacrosse Championships. Our first semifinal, the first of two. Syracuse in the orange taking on the #1 seed Johns Hopkins Blue Jays wearing the white and the blue shorts. Joe Beninati.
About 30 seconds here, Syracuse. They're going to start going to goal, look for a top match, one-on-one type thing with 20 seconds left, unless they turn it over. Here goes Corey Harnett.
Harnett picks up the loose ball. He'll have a shot down low to Benson, backside to Lesor, who didn't have an angle. But up top is Benson Irwin. He can't get his feet under him either. And the field wins the final moment as there'll be a push call, and they'll give the ball back to Hopkins.
Lesor catches this fast break, doesn't have enough angle, and then he tries to re-trigger. But on all those helter-skelter chaos situations, the slipping comes and becomes a factor.
But it gives Hopkins the chance to not to defend Syracuse after that timeout, but now they will be the aggressor, trying to get the tying goal with 15 seconds left. Adam Doniger, the senior, the power move. In close, he'll launch it, and it goes just wide. Well, they got the matchup they wanted. Britt Walther with little help against big Adam Doniger. Now they'll inbound with Kyle Berry behind. Berry looking to get it up front. Harrison will just take the shot, and this one goes wide as the time goes down to 1 second.
Hopkins looking for a little old-school screen there. Benson, number 13. He's like a slot man in hockey.
Inbounds comes to Benson. The ball actually went into the mud. I don't even know if it broke the plane, but no goal. The referee quick to wave it off. Benson, he gets those shots against anybody.
He is inside, catching that backhanded and redirecting in front. A great half of lacrosse. High-scoring action, helter-skelter, chaos. Look at the clock. You'll see number 13 inside, Bob Benson. He'll catch, redirect. Clock runs out. I think the goalie got a piece. The ball never crosses the line. So close.
Bobby Benson looking like he had it, but he didn't. Joe Beninati on the sideline.
Leif, one-goal games between Hopkins and Syracuse are the norm. John, does this one meet your expectations 30 minutes in?
Yeah, I think it does. You know, we expected it to be a tough game. I think we had some tremendous opportunities that we could have capitalized on here. If we keep getting those opportunities, I think we'll do better in the second half. But it's a great game right now. Both teams are playing well. They're both more relaxed now, and we got to come out strong in the second half.
Your defense has taken some hits. It's been maligned at times. Are they doing the job well today?
Yeah, I think we're doing a pretty good job. We got to cover up the invert better. They've dodged a couple times from behind and scored on that. We want them to make at least 2-3 passes before they get a shot off it. We have to adjust to that in the second half.
Isn't it interesting? 13 goals on the board. Two teams that have tremendous high scores. Players who
For 3 months?
tremendous.
Count from January to April. Can't
Going to M&T Bank Stadium surface, the mist coming down a little bit as we get ready to start the third quarter. Joe Beninati has Coach Dave Pietramala on the sideline.
Leaf, thanks very much. Dave, your defense has been good all year, but what goes through your mind when they stumble in that first half?
Well, you know, we're pressing a little bit offensively in the first quarter. We had a bunch of turnovers. You know, when they jammed the ball down our throat, what we need to do is, you know, we were stretching on Powell, pressing out on him, and they're dodging adjacent, and we're not getting help from the top center down, which we need to do, and we couldn't do it because we're pressing Powell. So we need to come off him, help inside. They're trying to throw the ball inside on us a bunch, so we need to fake slide a little bit more. We need to cover up inside. And, you know, hey, we settled down in the second quarter. We won that quarter. We got to go back to doing what we do. I think we've worried too much about what they're doing, worried about Mike Powell and Mike Springer. We got to settle down and just play good fundamental defense. We haven't done that yet.
Much appreciated. Leaf, let's get it back to you.
Thank you, Joe. This second half looks to be a great one. Two Titanic teams going head-to-head. Take a look at the scoring summary from this game.
The amazing thing here is Syracuse has 7 different goal scorers, Powell with 2 assists, and then Hopkins. They have 6 different players who have scored. So no one in this game has scored more than 1 goal. It really a testament to the depth of scoring on either team.
Each team taking a while to get comfortable. Syracuse coming out strong. Park, Springer, Rama. It was a 3-0 game. As Dave Pietramala mentioned, they won the second quarter. Michael Powell right there on the screen. They've done a great job, Quint, of putting Michael in places you might not find him. They bring him from the front, they bring him from the side, they bring him from the sideline.
I'd say right now, Syracuse interior defense playing better than the Johns Hopkins interior defense. Banks has been involved as a quarterback behind the cage with Powell up top. There's the Hopkins defense. They're going to have to regroup.
They know it's on their shoulders. Michael Pizer, Tom Garvey, Chris Watson, number 43.
You can talk all you want about game plan and Leaf, but when this crowd gets going and the footing is slippery, it's really up to this athlete. It's really out of the coach's hands in many of the situations that we've seen today.
Ball at the face-off X, and that's been critical. That area of the field, we've seen slippage. We've seen guys having a hard time going east-west. And the most titles ever, Syracuse 8, Hopkins 7. They want to get back there. Princeton followed by North Carolina with 4. Hart comes in as they start the second half. Hopkins does with a nice win in the face-off X. Kyle Harrison pushing it out to Harnden to get it back to the goalie, and they clear very easily back to the stick of Kyle Harrison.
Montadi's showing a lot of aggression here, playing Kyle Harrison all over the field. Now, if this game was played on turf, you couldn't do that to Harrison because he'd stop and change directions.
Harrison's going to get a shot, and he starts the second half that quickly, beating Montadi's and tying the game.
We're deadlocked at 7, and the last 3 Hopkins goals have been unassisted. No double team. You see DePietro stepping across the crease. He doesn't get there in time. I said earlier, I thought Montadi's was really overplaying Kyle Harrison, really showing a lack of respect for his speed. And Harrison turns the corner and beats Piper high.
Back to the X. They get Lou Braun in there to help out. Harrison is a little bit tired from that offensive push. Braun's been very successful in the face-off circle. This one pops out to Montadi's, and here comes Syracuse.
Braun had a shot at that loose ball. You only get 1 chance to make that play. And he missed the ground ball.
Well, Liam Banks got caught on the sideline, pushed out of bounds. The ball will go back to the Blue Jays.
Surprised we didn't have a push call in that situation. Banks had his toes on the line, and the defender just ran up his back.
So Hopkins will inbound their defensive end. Scher recognizes where the open man is and gives it to McDermott.
Clearing and riding game really has not been a factor so far. Both teams clearing very efficiently.
It's a slipping game that's really dominated the thoughts of these players as they go back out to the field. Pizer, Greg Pizer, the youngest of the Pizers, with Kevin Bolin, number 12. The matchup's so critical. As we see him locked up right now, Jared Park. Park gets turned around. Elects to go back to LeSueur. Barry looks to the crease. Bobby Benson always sliding around, number 13, big 6'4". Pizer again down low. LeSueur would have had a shot. He dropped the ball. And that'll be a foul. And a delayed call, so they'll get a free shot here.
Bliss is just hammering on LeSueur.
And finally, well, the ball still doesn't come out. Still a free shot for Hopkins. Great job of LeSueur to keep possession against a very aggressive Bliss. Finally, the ball goes down. They gave him some leeway because the red ticket was already drawn, and he gets a foul.
Kaiser gets double-teamed, kicks it to Lesor, who can't handle. Now watch Bliss go to work. He gives him everything. He gives him the back wrap, the back brain slap, the over the head, the ding-dong. He just whacked him 5-6 times, and finally the laundry flew. And there's Bliss. He got his money's worth for a minute, though.
He did that. But Petromali really is getting his money's worth from the huddle at halftime because he gets a goal in the first seconds of the second half, and now Quint, an extra man to get the first lead of the day potentially for Johns Hopkins. An extra man, they're 1-1, 1-4-1. So they look good on this extra man unit. They start Benson rotating into the center. Big shot by Doniger. That's the left-handed shot. Maybe not as much velocity for Doniger on that side with his left hand. He takes it though. Syracuse now looking for help.
Not the shot you want if you're that extra man unit. Doniger from about 12 yards, and not off a pass either.
Vidash just misses Michael Powell. Powell was really getting ragged all over the field by Tom Garvey, and that gives the ball back to Hopkins. These possessions are so critical, especially when you're man down.
Yeah, especially when you're man down for a full minute. It's not. Now Bliss is back on the field here.
Joe Beninati from the sideline.
5 losses in that L column. The guy who was given the most credit for turning the team around, defender Saul Bliss, motivator, really pushes this team to its limits, and he was very, very forceful during that last defensive sequence.
Hopkins in a clearing mode as they're back to even strength, these teams are. So Syracuse missed on the possession, but they killed the penalty. Game still tied at 7. 6 of the last 9 goals scored by Hopkins. So after that first quarter, Quint, second quarter won by Hopkins, and now the third quarter obviously very, very critical in our first semifinal matchup. Kyle Harrison. Kyle buried behind to Lesor, and they get up to Donovan. Donovan with a big right hand. He'll set up on the left, go to the right at 10. Bliss.
Benson's got the short on him inside. Ford's going to pop out and probably operate for Hopkins. We're putting the 2 shorties on Lesor and Ford right now.
Vidash is matched up right now with Benson as they slide around inside. Lesor, everybody doing a very much of a patient job looking around. Not as much concern on the Hopkins offense as they were down 4-1. Of course, at 4-1, they were a little bit nervous about what Syracuse might do. Lesor going one-on-one. Jared Park playing defense. Park gives him a little bit of right hand. Bontates with the slide. Now they'll move it 2 times. Doniger looks to the center.
Barry on a sneak is open there. Benson can jam it down low. Syracuse not respecting the man behind the cage. All 6 Syracuse defenders in front.
And your keys: slide, recover, defense right there, perfectly done. Doniger trying to get his hands free. Bliss staying on the gloves.
Tight defense by Syracuse. Really, they're not even contesting the perimeter.
Harrison with a great speed, but a little trouble with his footwork. Crenshaw playing defense, gets the ball out to Doniger. Moves it quickly. Lesor with room, and a great save by Piper. That was a nice play by Lesor to get the shot he wanted. Credit Piper with the save. Vidash again. This time he connects with Michael Powell.
In our cues to victory for Syracuse, we talked about their ability to defend, slide, rotate, and recover. That was a perfect example. How they slid to Harrison, but then they recovered to the shooter.
Energy levels leveling off now as we get about 5 minutes into this third quarter. Syracuse. Last goal by Lindsay late in the second quarter. Springer controlling with his great size behind the goal.
He's posting up, 6'4". He leans in, and he can see the entire field.
They slide off the defensive matchup, and it left it wide open inside. Powell noticed they were switching defensemen. He kicks it down low, but a save made by Scher. Benson Irwin with a nice clearing job. Syracuse almost caught Hopkins in between a slide. You got to credit Scher with a nice save.
You can see how quickly the Blue Jays double team Powell up top. Looks like they're going to flush him out up there, and they're not going to give him that comfort zone, his ability to pick apart down low. So Coach Petromali referenced in that interview with Joe Beninati.
Ryan Nee caught defensively down here with McDermott on him. This is not a matchup Syracuse would ever dream of.
Watch how quick they support Nee with a double team. You'll see one of these interior defenders right here. He'll help out.
McDermott down low, and he misses the handle. Just couldn't quite pick it up cleanly.
10-second count here for DePietro.
Petro cannot find Piper. Piper trying to decide whether to go to the ball or not. Lesor picks it up. Looks for an open man. Benson on the backside, wide open. Benson goes back to ask for the ball.
Knees running off the field right now. Hopkins has numbers right now. They step in.
They're a man up if they get it down low. And again, Kyle Berry could not collect it down low. He was parked to the right of the goalie, wide open, and absolutely Syracuse playing a man short on that play.
Knee just bailed out on that possession. He just ran off the field. Syracuse was left hanging with 5 defenders.
Said, you might go one-on-one with me one time, but you're not going to embarrass me twice. Ground balls, Hopkins leading 18-12. Most coaches will tell you that the ground ball war will win you the game.
Syracuse felt they outworked Johns Hopkins in the Carrier Dome in March.
A reminder about what's coming up later on today. It's Elimination Saturday as the World Series for women, and we'll talk about that later. Doniger gets pushed out of bounds, followed up nicely.
Not a smart play by Doniger, running himself to the sideline. This is trouble. You never want to save the ball in your own zone. You need to advance the ball up the field. So Doniger's going out of bounds on the sideline. He throws the ball back into his own defensive zone. That's like a hockey defenseman taking the puck out of the corner and putting it in front of his own goal. Very dangerous.
So Syracuse lining up with a 7-7 score on their offensive end. They've been stale as Petromala on the defense has really solved the offense that came out with a blistering pace. Park, Springer, Rommel to start the game. And now Syracuse using a lot of legs. Benson Irwin on defense, bounce shot wide, backed up by Liam Banks. The ball will just barely go out of bounds as the field remains heavy. We are at M&T Bank Stadium. Leif Elsmo, Quinn Kesnick, Joe Beninati on the sideline. Our first of 2 semi-final matchups. And it's Syracuse in the orange playing against Hopkins. They have the game tied at 7. And the game is getting tighter, each offensive possession. A little more careful, Quint, on the offensive sides.
Think about the classic matchups between Syracuse and Hopkins, 1983, 84, 85, and 89. This one's headed that way right now.
Michael Powell.
Some kind of off-the-ball infraction against Banks, either a hold or a warding off call. So that's 3 unforced turnovers now in the offensive set for Syracuse here in this third quarter.
Petromala wanted to race them downfield to catch this